Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome to Virtual University. In today's lesson, we are going to look at how to write an essay outline. Because an essay is longer and more complex than a paragraph, it is even more important that you organize your thoughts and plan your essay before you begin to write. Now, the best way to do this is by making an outline. In today's lesson, we will first consider what an outline is, and then consider how it can be used for writing an essay, and last, you will have some practice in writing outlines. Now, outlining is a useful skill. It's a skill that you must learn because it can be used in both writing and reading, both in your reading and writing. An outline is basically an organization of related ideas. Ideas that are similar in some selected way. Then you present them in a simplified manner, in a manner that clearly shows the relationship within each paragraph and among all the other paragraphs. So preparing an outline is essentially a problem of classifying and organizing. Classifying and organizing your ideas. Now, as I said earlier, an outline is useful in both reading and writing. Now, because writing is language that is meant to be read, you can think of reading and writing as different ends of the same communication. Somebody writes and somebody reads, right? So all writers use an outline. They use an outline to help make their writing clear. This is the main purpose of an outline. It helps to make your writing clear. If writers use an outline to organize their writing clearly, their readers should be able to analyze that organization of writing. An outline is like a skeleton, which helps the writer to put flesh around it. It is the reader who removes the flesh to see the skeleton underneath. Now, suppose you were asked to write about the traffic problems of your city. This was an essay topic. And as you think about this topic, you decide that there are three main causes. How would you go about it? The first thing is, just jot down the ideas as they come to you. Just jot them down, write them down on a piece of paper. And it comes to your mind that traffic in your city is a problem because, and you come up with three ideas. There's a great variety of vehicles that move on the road. Then you think that, well, maybe it's the narrow roads. The roads are narrow. They were built a long time ago. And then another idea comes to your mind that the drivers of these mechanical vehicles, they do not follow the traffic procedures, the traffic rules. And later you develop these 3 points and you write your essay, right? And you develop your paragraphs along those points that you jotted down. Now, write the name of the city, whichever your city is. You can begin by saying that traffic is becoming a serious problem in my city. and you name your city. There are three basic reasons. First, there is a great variety of vehicles moving on the roads. There are fast moving mechanical vehicles like cars, buses, vans, motorcycles, motor rickshaws, and there are slow moving vehicles like horse-drawn coaches for public transport, which are called tongas, oxen and horse-driven carts for carrying goods and merchandise. This mixture of fast and slow moving vehicles is the greatest of traffic problems. Moreover, the number of these vehicles has risen considerably in the recent years. Now you notice you are writing along the points that you have noted down, and your essay continues. Another reason is that roads are old and narrow. As cars are parked along the side of these roads, it makes the roads more narrow, leaving little room for the main traffic to move smoothly. Third, as many drivers in my city do not obey traffic rules, the result is that traffic jams result from cars going one way and buses going the opposite way on the same road. Thus, there is chaos on the roads of my city. Now, a reader who reads this paragraph can easily make out the outline of its organization, which would be something like traffic problems, three causes. Number one, great variety of vehicles, fast moving, slow moving. Then number two, narrow roads, narrow streets, cars are parked on both sides. Number three, drivers don't obey traffic rules. So from this example, you can see that an outline has two purposes. The first purpose in writing is to organize and present ideas effectively. And number two, that in reading, the purpose in writing is to organize and present ideas clearly, and the purpose in reading is to analyze the organization and relationship of ideas. So I hope it's clear that when you make an outline, you have two purposes in mind. Number one, that you organize and present your ideas in an effective manner, and number two, that from your outline you can make out the relationship of ideas. Now, how is an outline written? The writing of an outline will depend on the purpose and the subject of your essay. The important point is that there is no one way or method that suits everyone and is superior on all occasions, right? There are many ways of writing. We shall look at one example of an outline. Suppose you were asked to write on the works of Shakespeare. Now that is a vast topic. The easiest way would be to make a list of all that Shakespeare wrote. Now he wrote plays, he wrote poems, he wrote poetry, he wrote sonnets, he wrote a lot of things. Now you have already classified his works, plays and poetry. By just saying plays, he wrote poetry, you have classified his works. You can further classify or divide his plays into three categories. You look at his works and you notice that there is one type that is, they are all tragedies. And then you look at another type and you notice that those plays are all dealing with comedy. There's a lot of humor in them. And then you notice that there is another category. There are some plays written by Shakespeare that are historical plays. They deal with kings and how they rise and fall. So, as I said last time, that you classify and you categorize, and that is a very easy method. In the same way, you look at Shakespeare's poetry and you can categorize it. There are long poems, he has written some long poems, and he has written sonnets. Now, the works of Shakespeare, you just jot down the names that you can recall. There is Macbeth, Merchant of Venice, King Lear, As You Like It, Romeo and Juliet, Midsummer Night's Dream, Richard III, Othello, Henry V, Henry IV, Parts 1 and 2, Venus and Adonis, A Lover's Complaint, these are poems, and then he has written a whole lot of sonnets, I think around 154. Now, that was a very haphazard list of plays, list of his works. You can categorize them in 3 or 4 categories. You can have one category of comedies, and of the names that you just jotted down, you can take out the ones that are comedies. You can have Merchant of Venice, As You Like It, Midsummer Night's Dream, and Tempest. You can put them down under one category, the category of comedies. Then you have a second category, the category of tragedies, and you can have Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, Othello. These can come under tragedies. Then you've got his history plays, and among the history plays you've got plays like Richard III, Henry IV Part 1, Henry IV Part 2, and you've got Henry V. So you've got 3 categories of plays. What about poems? He wrote a number of long poems, fairly long, and you can recall 2 poems. One is Venus and Adonis, and another one is A Lover's Complaint. And then you put sonnets in an entirely different category. So you can categorize or make an outline of Shakespeare's works under 5 headings: comedies, tragedies, histories, long poems, and sonnets. Now that was a very rough, brief outline, but it is systematic. And if you were to write on the works of Shakespeare, you could use that as an outline. Now, did you notice that the names that you jotted down in the first list and the names that you categorized in the second list, the names are the same, but it is the second list that is clearer. At one glance, you can see the organization. Why is it clear? Why is the second list clearer? It is because there is organization. The names are listed in a meaningful way. The titles are grouped according to similar characteristics, and you have 5 main headings: comedies, tragedies, histories, long poems, and sonnets. Now this kind of organization helps in making the differences clear and in focusing on one particular difference or category at a time. Here are two more examples of topic outlines. You notice the difference between the two lists. The topic is books I enjoy reading. You've got list A and you've got list B. Look at the way the books are listed in under A. Notice number 1, fiction, spy thrillers, historical novels. Number 2, love stories. Number 3, non-fiction. And under non-fiction there are two more subtopics, inventors and biographies. And number 4, military heroes. And number 5, science or space exploration or explorers. Now if you look at the list, the same topics, but notice the way they are organized in the second list. And there are two main categories, 1 and 2. Notice in the first one there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the second one you find that under one heading, fiction, there are 3 subtopics: love stories, historical romances, and the third one is spy thrillers. They all come under fiction. Right? The second major category is non-fiction. And under non-fiction you will notice there are 2 major subtopics: biographies and science and medical explorations. And under those 2 major subheadings you've got a lot of other subheadings, subheadings. Under non-fiction you've got biographies. Now under biographies, whose biographies? It's listed statesmen, kings, freedom fighters, inventors, military conquerors. Now when you have the subtopic military conquerors, you find it is listed conquerors and generals. Then you've got under biographies sportsmen, you've got movie stars. Look at the number of categories under biographies. Under A you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subcategories. And for category B, which is a subtopic of non-fiction, you've got medical science, space, exploration. Now, example A, the list under A, the outline under A, it's a poor topic outline, as it seems confused. The main topics are not of equal importance, right? Example B is a good topic outline. In the 2 examples of topic outlines that you've seen so far, the first one was works of Shakespeare and the second one books I enjoy reading. The topics are arranged in a logical order. You have noticed that only topics are given and each topic begins with a capital letter. And because they are topics and not full sentences, a full stop or a period has not been used at the end of each topic. Each topic of the same rank is expressed in the same grammatical form. Also, I would like you to notice the indentation. Notice how the subcategories, they are indented, and it's the same system of numbers or the same letters that are used. if you've used A for one subcategory, then, and if you've got another one subcategory, then use B for it, and then C and D, right? And the method of outlining is presented in brief for you. Notice on your screen that when you begin to write, when you want to make an outline, just jot down the ideas as they occur to you. That's the first step. The next is that you arrange these ideas in a satisfactory manner, which could be natural or logical order, with headings and subheadings. You may find that some of the ideas which you have jotted down are not included because you realize later on that they do not fit in with your purpose. Now, the third stage, and this is the stage where you begin to make an outline. You label your headings and the subheadings very carefully. The main headings, you use Roman numericals, Roman 1, Roman 2, Roman 3. The subheadings, for subheadings you use the letters of the alphabet, A, B, C. And for further subdivisions of those subheadings, you may use the Arabic numerals 1, 2, 3. Now, if in your further subdivisions you have number 1, and you find for number 1 you've got a few more points to add, something further, so then you use the Roman numerals in small case, right? If you've got 2, if you've got 1, 2, 3, if you've got more than 1 point, so you will have 1, 2, 3. But if you have only just 1, there is no need for you to write the numeral, the Arabic number. And number 4, you must remember that you have to indent. You have to set down the outline as you can see on your screen. This is a very good way. Number 1, that is one major point given under Roman 1. This is followed by a Roman 2, the next major heading, and then number 3, Roman number 3 in big case. Now under 1 you've got A, subpoint A, another subpoint B, right? Look at number 2, the Roman number 2. Under that you find you've got 2 major subheadings, and those subheadings have further subdivisions, and you have the Arabic number 1 and the Arabic number 2. A, the subtopic A, has further subdivisions, Arabic number 1, Arabic number 2, while B doesn't have any, so you don't have to. C doesn't have any further subdivision, you don't have to put down any mark. And then you've got your Roman number 3. The first one could be your introductory paragraph, number 2 could be your main body, number 3 could be your main body, number 4 could be your main body, and the last one could be your concluding paragraph. Now, we will look at a topic, a very common topic, the topic of travel, right? Jot down all the ideas that come into your mind about travel. You can talk about means of travel, and then you can write down bus, train, aeroplane, car, etc., etc. And then you think of a particular journey. You traveled all the way from Lahore to Peshawar, which is in the northwest. And then another idea comes to your mind. You remember a quotation You read this quotation somewhere a long time ago, and it said, to travel hopefully is better than to arrive. And then you remember that there are books on travel. You remember years ago you read an essay by somebody called Bacon on travel. Write it down, jot it down in your notes, and then you have another idea that travel has some educational value. And then you think and say to yourself that, yes, holidays, travel and holidays. And then you have another idea that you meet people when you travel. The countries that you would like to visit. What is it that you would like to see over there? Any particular country that you would like to travel? What problems you would face when you travel? When you go for Hajj, Hajj is also travel. What about the customs of the people? And the preparation that goes into when you travel. So all these are ideas that came into your mind. And you think, you've got all these ideas and you have to sort them out. Right? You sort them out and you drop some of these ideas and you make an outline. It is when you are making an outline, then you clarify your ideas. You realize that 2 points that you had in your notes are good, but point number 3 is not relevant. So your first idea is, well, I'll make it into a personal essay, why I would like to travel. And your first paragraph, you write value of travel. And you remember a quotation, you jot it down, travel in the younger sort is part of education, in the elder a part of experience. And you say that would make a good opening sentence. Jot it down, write it down. So value of travel is your first point, major point. And then while talking about value of travel, you remember that you jotted down the knowledge that you gain from books. And you remember there is a book from the Oxus to Jamna, right? That is A. B, the knowledge that one gets from experience. You've already visited certain places and you gained a lot of knowledge. So point number 1, which is value of travel, has 2 major sub-points. One, knowledge from books, and the other, knowledge from experience. Then your second major point is the pleasures of travel. And again, what are the pleasures? And you say, well, I can divide this into 2. This paragraph can be divided into 2. One part could be about seeing new places, and the second part could be meeting new people. Now, A, seeing new people, seeing new places, you can have further subdivisions. Cities, buildings, countryside, historical sites. So you make subdivisions, 1, 2, 3. Then the second part, meeting new people. And you can subdivide this under customs and under languages. The third major point that comes to your mind from the points that you noted, that you jotted down, is about the method of travel. So you can have one major paragraph on methods of travel, and you subdivide this into cars, buses, train. What are the good points if you travel by car or by bus or by train? One advantage is that you can see the country. You get a chance to meet people. and you can say that it takes longer. The other part is aeroplanes. We are talking about methods of travel, and you say that the second method is to travel by plane, and you notice that there is one advantage, that you can get there quicker. Now, as your topic was, if you remember at the beginning, you said why you would like to travel. So far you've got 3 paragraphs: value of travel, the pleasures of travel, the methods of travel, and your 4th paragraph would be the desire to travel. And here you would explain why you want to travel, A, B, where you would want to go. So that would cover the personal aspect. And the last paragraph would be preparations for travel. And you could talk about getting your passport and your visa and buying a ticket and other preparations that you make, such as you look at the climate of that place. What are the weather conditions over there at the time of the year you are traveling, and you will pack your suitcase accordingly. Now, that was an outline for the topic travel. Now notice, travel itself is a huge topic. You limited it by saying why I would like to travel, right? Now, I want you to notice, number one, that each heading in the outline that you saw on the screen is expressed in a phrase or a word. And number two, that parallel points have parallel wording. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All these major headings are noun phrases: value of travel, pleasures of travel, methods of travel. So when you make an outline, this is how you have to do it. Then you noticed that the subheadings, 2A was seeing, so 2B was meeting. It has to be parallel. If that is seeing, the other one would be ing also. Number 4A was why you would like to travel. So you had 4B as where you would like to travel. And number 3, you should not allow headings to overlap. Number 4, do not coordinate any heading which should be subordinated. And do not subordinate any that should be coordinated. Number 5, do not make a single heading or subheading anywhere in the outline. Example, where you have number 1, you must have number 2. And similarly, if you put A, there must be at least B. And if you've got number 1, then you must have at least 2. And number 6, point number 6, you have to keep in mind 6 points. The outline provides for a prompt beginning, right? If you've got your outline in front of you, you should have no problem in beginning. Now over here in this essay that we had on travel, you started with a quotation, and the ending, you ended with the buying of a ticket, and you give information about these, and they are not labeled. Notice in your outline you did not have the word introduction or the word conclusion anywhere. Now, we will have some practice to illustrate the first 2 points that I just read out to you and which I hope you've noted. We will talk about flower arrangement. You will notice that on the left hand side of your screen there are a series of ideas on the subject of flower arrangement, and on the right hand side is a framework for an outline. You use the material that is given on the left to complete the outline given on the right. This is practice work for you. This is just to give you some practice in making outlines for essays. Now the topic is flower arrangement, and the guiding purpose is that you are to present this as an art. How is flower arrangement to be presented as an art? Look at all the ideas that were jotted down by the writer, and these ideas are on the left hand side, and you've got words like when you think of flower arrangement, the things that come into your mind: names of flowers, roses, chrysanthemums, peach blossoms, dahlias, greenery, a single rose, pleasure. You get pleasure, so you write it down when you are arranging flowers. You arrange them in vases, the sizes. Then there is the Japanese style of arranging flowers. Then you say, well, lots of flowers are involved. You need lots of flowers if you are presenting it as an art. You use flowers at weddings, at parties. How would you classify an arrangement of flowers as good? What is required for it to be a good arrangement? What is required? What is it that goes wrong and you say it's a bad arrangement? And then you think of the time of year when you have flower arrangement competitions. So these are all the kinds of ideas that come into your mind, and as they come into your mind, you just jot them down on a piece of paper. Now on the right hand side of your screen, you will notice a rough outline is given you. Use words or ideas from the left hand side to fill out this outline, to complete this outline. Number one, the art of flower arrangement. And for example, what could you have over there? You could say Japanese style. Number two, first look at the main headings. The main headings are the art of flower arrangement. You can talk about how the Japanese have developed this into an art. The next major heading is the choice of flowers. The third is the dash of flowers. And then number four is again arrangement. Number five is the pleasure from flower arrangement. So I would go about it in this way. I would say that for number one, the art of flower arrangement, you can illustrate with an example from Japanese style, how the Japanese have made this into an art. Number two, it says the choice of flowers, and then you've got certain months mentioned over there. Now in our country, of course we've got flowers all the year round, but there are some flowers that are there in the cold months. In December we have a lot of chrysanthemums. Chrysanthemums grow in Lahore and Pindi in the upper regions. So you can say in December chrysanthemums. And what about roses? You could say, well, roses you find all the year round, but especially in let's say January, they are there in bloom. And February, we've got peach blossoms. They are there for a very brief time, for a very short time. All right, your number three is the arrangement of flowers. you are going to talk, your paragraph number 3 will be how flowers are arranged. A, the wrong way. B, the right way. What is it that makes flower arrangements a good, an arrangement of flowers which you would say is good? What is it that makes that arrangement bad? So you would explain over there. Then you would talk about flowers, and then about vases. How should a big vase, what kind of flowers should go into a big vase? What kind of flowers should go into a small vase? And number 4, paragraph number 4 could be about the local style. What is our style of arranging flowers? How do you go about it? You take flowers, you cut the stems, you take off the thorns if you are using roses, and you take off all the extra greenery, and then you talk about the pleasures one gets from arranging flowers, flower arrangement. You can talk about special occasions like weddings, like parties. So notice the pleasures from flower arrangement. A, on special occasions, and those special occasions are subdivided into number 1, weddings, number 2, parties. B, the effect of flowers on your room or any room. So you look at this arrangement, this outline, and you will notice that it is very clear, right? Now, here is another example. In this example, the main headings on the left hand side overlap. You should write a correct version, write 2 correct versions. One on the left hand side talks about the history of the Punjab, and you've got 4 periods: period before 1500, Mughals, Sikhs, period after 1947. You could write it in another way. Number 1, you can talk about the Hindu period before the coming of Muslims. Punjab under the Gupta, the other earlier Hindu rulers. Then Punjab after Ghazni, Mahmud of Ghazni, because he annexed the Punjab to his kingdom. And then you can have history of the Punjab under the Mughals. And number 4, history of the Punjab under the Sikhs. You can make another version, you can have another version of this outline. You can begin with Punjab under the Mughals, number 1. Number 2, you can have Punjab under the Sikhs. Number 3, Punjab under British rule. And number 4, post-independence Punjab. Now these were samples for you, right? You looked at these samples, and now I would like you to write a corrected version of the outline. But remember, here is another example, and I would like you to look at it, look at what is given on the left hand side, and you rearrange the same thing on the right hand side. And the topic is the uses of atomic energy. On the left hand side you have the background of atomic research, A, for military purpose. Now over there you've got, if you've got A, then you better have B as well, right? Otherwise don't have it. Number 2 is the atomic bomb. Number 3, other weapons. Number 4, for peaceful purposes. A, industry. 5, medicine. Number 6, importance of atomic power. If you look at the outline given on the left hand side, you will notice in one glance that it is not very clear. It is not written the way I have been telling you that it should be written. Look at the same thing on the right hand side. Number A, you can write the background of atomic research. Number 2 could be the importance of atomic power, and that could be split into 2 subdivisions: A, atomic bomb; B, other weapons, all under one heading, major heading, the importance of atomic power. Number 3, you can talk about the importance of atomic research, and this could be subdivided into 2: medicine, A, medicine; B, industry. And number 4, you can have a topic, a paragraph on atoms for peace. Now, in today's lesson, we looked at how to write an outline, and you had practice. I showed you jumbled, confused versions, and you looked at corrected versions, and you must have noticed that it is all a matter of organizing. Outlines are meant to help you sort out your ideas. There has to be some order, what we say in our language, tarteeb. You cannot cover everything in one essay. You have to limit your essay topic, and when you limit it, you have to do it in a very clear, orderly manner. So, today's lesson should be helpful, and in future, whenever you write, remember, you may, if you don't feel like following all those points, 1, 2, 3, A, B, 1, 2, 3, at least have some idea. I'm sure you've got some idea of how to go about making an outline. So, and we provided you some practice, and I hope you feel that you have gained something from today's lesson. Next time we will talk about how to limit your essay topic. That again is a major area, and we are still looking at writing. So wish you all the best and hope to see you next time. Allah Hafiz.